computer. So school interface 3. I'm in part-time Charlie Platoon, school interface 3. I'm going to fork this over to my personal GitHub. So it's copied it over. And we'll review the README and all that fun stuff. So I go to the green button code, the green code button, click the clipboard or just copy that. Or you can pretty much just copy, what did I just do? All right. Clipboard, go back to the Explorer. I'm in Charlie Challenges. I'm currently in school interface 2. I'm going to CD back up one level and then git clone. Let's zoom in. Whoop. There we go. Click git clone and then CD into school interface. Was it 3? All right. List everything out. Wait a second. I messed something up, didn't I? Did I git clone it from here? Yep, looks like I did, just based off of the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and actually delete that entire folder, school interface 3. So how do I delete a folder?
RM-RF.
What does that stand for?
Remove and remove force, I think.
Remove force or recursively force remove. And what does the -RF actually do?
Gets rid of those directories.
Yeah, if there's files within a directory, it deletes everything.
All right, yeah. So if I do just like school interface 3, it'll say school interface 3 is a directory. So I want to remove that directory and everything in it. So recursive force, delete all the directories within school interface 3 as well. So I can go ahead and do that and list everything out. And school interface 2 or school interface 3 is not there. It's just school interface 1 and 2. So let's go ahead and clear that. And I'm just going to fork this over again. So it looks like I've already forked it over, but I was just on the wrong. I did something on my keyboard. So let's go ahead and clone that down. Let's make sure I'm working in the right repo. Git clone. Then list everything out. There's my school interface 3. You can see in the school interface 3 and open this up. Actually, I'm going to leave this open for right now. I'm not going to go directly into it because I just want to make sure that school interface 3 is the same as my school interface 2. So I'm going to open up my runner in school interface 3 and look at my school interface 2. I'm going to look at the runner in there, bring that over, split the screen, and literally just copy over my school interface 2 into my school interface 3. All right, so I got that going in my school interface 3. I'm going to do the same thing for my, was it the school class? So school interface 3, school interface 2, just to make sure everything, I just want to use the same code, even though it might be different or might be very similar. All right, so I copied over school, and I'm just going to make sure the staff and students are the same as well. And I guess I probably should also. So this is school interface 2, student school interface 2. I could also just continue working on school interface 2, but I like to keep everything separate as far as like snapshots of what should be completed for each challenge. And the last one was person, because I think my person class in my school interface 2 is a little bit different. Wasn't? Oh yeah, there it goes. School interface 2. school interface 3. Great. So now I'm at a good starting point of the code I actually wrote. So now I feel I'm comfortable enough to go into school. Let's see. Oh, just open this up into a new VS Code window. All right. So I'm going to close that, and then I'm just going to Python runner, just run that so I can list all the students. Was this already here? What is going on in here? Oh, I guess I must have already added that. Sorry. So view student, was it 1, 3, 3, 4, 5 or something? So Lisa, and it still goes, and I can quit. There we go. All right. So let's read through the actual. So adding a student. So right here, we need to add a student for this part. So LF3, we can say student. What did it say? Oh, it said school. So looks like we're going to be building a method school dot add student and some like student info or student data, student info, whatever. So we can look at our student class to make sure to see what kind of data we actually need. So I'm going to split the screen right there and close that off. So it looks like we need name, age, student ID, and password, and possibly role. So I'm going to pass in a dictionary. So student info equals, I guess we're going to do a default of role of student. So if that's the case, if we're adding a student with a student role, we don't necessarily need to have a default key on there like it shows here down here. Because if you want to have additional roles like TAs, etc., we can leave that blank and grab the role if we want to. What should we do? Should we leave this blank and have the user input what role they are?
Can we do it that way? Because I did it with starting off with the role, student role. So I'd like to see starting off blank.
Yeah, so this is interesting. So how can we do this? So like this is where you can like go down the rabbit hole. It's like, well, what type of roles can we have? We have to make sure that it's when somebody is typing in, they're only able to type in that role, but let's not go that far yet. Let's just grab the inputs from the students, the name. So, so student name equals input, enter student name, then name, age, student ID, password. Name, age, student ID. can say student, right? Role and password. So once we have that, and we can just test that initially. So I'm going to comment out that and do print. Let's see. Let's see if I can do some. Yeah. Well, yeah, let's just print the student info. And now I can do Python runner and click 3, type 3, enter student name, Tom. What does it say? Name error. Oh, I see what I did here. See, I did student name instead of student info. So I can just grab that, clear that, run that again, try this again. 1, 2, 3, role, student, password, 1, 2, 3. And now you can see I've got this dictionary here with name, age, student ID, etc. So add student. All right. What questions do you have about grabbing the student value and everything? And for here, like if we wanted to limit the roles, I'd probably have like a helper function like def check role that takes in the role, and if role not in like an array of roles, so like acceptable roles, be like student, TA, I don't know what other, some other roles or whatever. I'd say if it's not so not in acceptable roles, then like return something or somehow loop back through to grab the student role again. But I don't know if that should be done here or it should be done inside of the add student method. So if you want, just a thought, like if you wanted to go that route, you can go ahead and do that. But for right now, a student can type in any role they want as of right now. So now we're going to pass. So the school object, the school instance is going to have a instance method called add student that's going to take in a dictionary as an argument. So I'm over here in my, not student, but code. In my school. So I've got find student. So def add student takes in some student info. And now I need to create a new student instance. So new student equals student. Now there's a couple of ways I can add in. I can pass the student info. So because the student info is a dictionary, so I can either do like student info, like name, age, and keep going, add them all in here. But there's another way we can add in, if we're passing in a dictionary into a method, there's a way we can extrapolate the values off of that dictionary. Does anybody remember?
Keyword arguments.
Yep, quargs or keyword arguments. So I can pass the student info as a quargs, so it'd be student info. And what that is actually doing, it's literally just passing a name, Tom, like age, whatever, and it doesn't matter the order it goes in. So I can just say student info. It's just going to automatically know. It's going to magically know where these values go within our student class up here. So like, hey, there's the role, put it in there, it's student ID. It doesn't matter the order. Or it shouldn't, but we'll find out. All right, so I have this new student instance and I can print that new student instance if I want, like so, and just run this code just to make sure I've got a new student instance working. Not code, school, so Python runner. Oh, you go up one level. So add a student, Tom, 24, 1, 2, 3, student. All right, what does it say? What did I miss? Can anybody tell me?
Self.
Yep.
Oh,
so
something in there. Yep.
right here, I need that self. So let's go ahead and try that again. Let's see if I do that. So there you go. You see Tom is being printed out right there. And it's the reason why it's formatted really nicely like that is because that student has that dunder string method that prints out my age and ID really nice. All right, so I've got that new student. Now I can do student or self dot students because I want to append that student to this all students array. So, and I'm adding a new student to that all the students dot append new student. All right, so I added a student to the school class that's storing the data in memory, but it's not reflective inside my data, not staff, my student yet. So Tom has not been added to that yet. So luckily I've got this. Do I have a save students or do I need to make that? So now I need to save that student. So I'm going to create a method, def save students, that all it does is it grabs all the student objects in here and writes them to the CSV file. So since I added that new student here, and then if I write all the students to that CSV file, I'm literally just like overwriting this whole thing with all the students again. So I'm like overwriting the CSV file. So let's see how I go about doing that. So do I have, I'm going to have to import. So import CSV, I need to import OS. So I'm going to do my path because I need the absolute path. Absolute path to OS path dot dir name and file. I'm just copying this from the old code from what school interface 1, I believe. So OS path dot join. I'm going to join my path. And then how do I get to that student CSV file? So in order to write this CSV file with open path, I'm going to do the mode as write mode. So I'm not appending an individual student. You can do that, but I'm going to use the save students method over and over again. So I don't want to just add an individual student because I'm going to also use this when I delete students as well. As a student CSV. So first thing I need to do, you don't remember the CSV file, CSV Python. So I'm going to need a writer. So I'm writing over it. So it looks like I'll need some field names. All right, yeah. So I'm going to do field names, first name, last name, but instead of first name, last name, I'm going to use the headers. See if I can do this all at once. Nope. Close enough. Oh. And I'm just going to make sure. So and actually, I probably should make these all single quotes just for seeing right here, just because all of them in here are single quotes. And if it's F string, then use double quotes. So if you're going to pick, so it doesn't really matter whether you use double quotes or single quotes, but if you just pick one of them and don't deviate much, don't deviate at all unless you absolutely have to. So I've got my field names, which are my headers. So I can actually just call this headers. And then I've got the CSV writer equals CSV. I'm just wondering, should I use a dict writer or a dict or just a basic writer for this?
Dict writer.
A dict writer? All right, dict writer. Let's just try it out. So dict writer, CSV file. Let's see. Field names equals right row. Then loop through. All right. Dict writer, then student CSV, then field names equals headers. I'm just looking right here, so I need to write the header first. So CSV writer dot write header. And now I can say for student and self.students. Let's see if this works. Writer dot right row. Wait, no, that's not right. So it'd be CSV writer. Right row. And I can do student dot name. Does it need to be Name, age, student ID. Whoop. Guess I'll just move that over here so we can. Name. Okay, so I need that dictionary. Name, age, student ID. Password. Roll. All right. Get rid of those trailing spaces, white space. All right, hopefully that works. If it doesn't, we'll do with it then. So I added a student. I appended the student to that student array in the school or self.students. Now I just need to save all those students again. So I can do just self.save students and invoke that. So hopefully if everything worked, I didn't get any errors. Let's see if I got any errors. So I do Python runner 3, Joan 33, ID is 123, role student. All right, what happened? All right, student object is not subscriptable. What does that even mean? Does this work? Can't remember off the top of my head.
I ran into this issue a lot, and I think what you're doing does work.
What I'm doing right now?
Yes.
All right,
And you're missing E on roll. Yeah.
thank you. Clear. So 3. All right, now we got something. Dict contains fields and student ID. All right, so now it's like, hey, school ID doesn't match that. All right, so that's why that was just a choice of mine. If you left it the same as the headers in the student CSV, if you left it as school ID, you wouldn't have ran into that problem. So 3. All right. Okay, interesting. Why did it do that? What, did I overwrite it or something?
Would it have been cleared by the time it got to the loop, and then once it errored, it can't put anything back in?
Let's find out. There we go. I think it's because last time I ran it, must have deleted everything. So cool. So that worked. Does anybody know why it said it's not subscriptable?
I ran into that when I didn't do enumerate.
Okay. Well, it's because student is a student object and it's not a dictionary. So you can't just grab it via like you would in a normal dictionary. These are all attributes: name, age, student ID, password, and role. Those are attributes or instance variables, and how you access those is just the name of the instance dot whatever attribute you want. So that's why that happened. All right. So with that, where are we at? So, we already did saving data. So next is deleting records. But before we do that, let's go ahead. All right, so our last one is to delete a record. So the last feature you'll need to implement is the ability to delete a student record. Follow the same procedure as before. First, add a condition to the if statement. What information will you need from the user in order to delete a record? How you would get it and pass it to your method. Then in school, define a method called delete student. How can you save the student again without, how can you use the save method or the save student method again? All right, so in our runner, so we can actually create another elif mode equals 4. Literally just like print students underscore ID if you want to find the student to delete. I'm wondering if I was just like for print deleting student. Whoop. Just so you kind of know specifically what menu you're on when you're actually filling it out. So I'm going to grab a student ID. So input, enter student ID or ID of student you wish to delete. And then we pass it in school. Was it delete student? We pass that student ID into this delete student instance method that we have yet to create. And you can definitely what's going on here? Whoa. Why isn't this working? There we go. All right. And you can also do the rest there. So inside of school, we got add student. I just locked myself out of my computer. It's always fun. Is everything still recording? All right. So I can do def delete student, takes in the self keyword like I forgot last time, and the student ID. All right. What are some ways y'all deleted a student? Anybody? There's multiple ways you can do it.
I ended up using the find student by ID.
So right here.
Yes. So I created a variable student to remove and then set that equal to the result of the ID of find student by ID
So
and then pass the ID.
Student ID.
Yep.
All right. What else did you do? So we've got the student. Now, if we have found this student,
Yeah, so since the self.students object is a list, I was able to use remove. And then, yeah, set student to remove.
awesome. And then
And then I saved at the end, self.save students.
so 3 lines of code, and we're leveraging some already methods we've already created by find a student by ID. So that should be student to remove. And what's great about this is that it already has some error handling and whether or not the student exists or not. So if you did happen to like loop through the self.students and find that student with the same ID, like this does all that help like for you because we're doing that up here. All right. So where am I at? So student to remove students, and then I'm just gonna at the very end print an F string just to make sure, tell the user whoop. What is it? Student to remove dot name has been permanently or has been deleted.
Would that be a good place to maybe put in a check just to verify that it actually was deleted? before we-
Let's see. Well, here, if everything worked out, so if we didn't get any errors here, and save students, then we can safely assume that it's been saved. So we might actually want to have some, like, if we wanted to have error handling in here, this is like in the save students, we might want to have something in there, but we already have something in find student by ID. And then student to remove. So, and I believe if there isn't a student, so if there isn't a student with the student ID, so if this gets returned and put there, and it comes into here, remove, we'll throw an error. Like, and we can test that out. It just depends on how we want to control those errors. So Python runner. I'm just gonna list all the students so I can see, get some, so I'll 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, so delete Kim. So student to remove. So enter ID of student you wish to remove, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6. Says Kim has been deleted, and I can look at that by just listing all the students and see Kim is gone from there, and I can check the student thing here as well, and Kim is also gone there. If I also wanted to check some random student that doesn't exist, it's going to throw an error. List of X does not, so we get an error there. So if you didn't want the program to totally quit right there, what can we do? So if student to remove returns a string, whoop, like if student is instance, what is it? Let's see what the is instance does. So 5 integer. So if student to remove is a string, then we can return F string. There was an error. Well, I guess we can just assume that we can actually just return student to remove, because that is going to be a string now. So if we did that again, Python runner for well, I didn't do it.
That doesn't it need to be in the method, because you're getting student by ID, doesn't it need to be in that if you're inputting invalid ID?
So yeah, so
I don't think you're printing it, are you?
yeah, I guess that's right. Let's see. So yeah, it's weird, huh?
Yeah, it seems like what you're trying to return is the return value from your find student by ID.
Right.
And so that code needs to be up in the find student by ID if it's invalid.
So if this is invalid, so it returns.
Kind of makes me think, is this instance isn't working? Like, is that even firing that return statement?
No, it's not, because it's calling that function and it's not in there, so it's returning that there
Oh.
is no student. So that's never even going to get there.
Yeah. That is correct. I'm just gonna print something. Oh, hold on a second. Is it because I didn't restart it? No. Oh, that's why. Yeah, so I had it right. But I don't think. Yeah, anyway. If you wanted to have errors in there, you can. There's other ways to do it. So like if you did loop through, so if you loop through each, so if you didn't leverage the find student by ID, you can loop through the self.students and find a self.student school ID does not equal or equals ID. If it does, then you can remove them from the self.students. So yeah, there's a bunch of ways you can do it. If you like create an empty array, if the student ID that you're trying to delete does not equal the student ID inside of the all students, you can add it to like a temporary array. And then once you do find that student, you don't add it to that temporary array, and then you just reassign the self.students to that temporary array that doesn't include the student that you want to delete, and then you just save it again. So that's one way to remove it from that. But this works. But yeah, I don't like. Yeah. And this just says is instance. If this is a string, that means it's gotten here. Yeah. But this works. Any questions on this?
Just something I thought about. Would we want to do like lower on something to make sure it's not like different cases, like it's not going to find it? If it's different casing.
It depends on the ID. So if the school IDs are only numbers, But yeah, like if an ID can contain alphanumeric, then yeah, you'd want to make sure that like the lower, like,
I use names to delete. I guess that's why I thought about that. Enter somebody's name. That just made
oh yeah,
more sense to me. If you didn't know the student's ID, it'd be easier to find it by name.
gotcha. And then, but then the question is, what if there's students that have the same name? Would it just
Right.
delete the first students that they find? That's where ID would be more sufficient.
That's-
But but you can also do like name, age, birth. You can add like if we had like a birthday column and we didn't use an ID, we can like, hey, type in their name, first name, last name. That might work. First name, last name, and date of birth. Just to narrow down the students. All right. So I'm going to get status. All right, I've added all that stuff again, which I don't want. Get reset. I'm going to clear the terminal, list everything out. I'm going to create a get ignore. What is it? And all right. So now I can just add this pi cache in there. And now you can see that pi cache is grayed out. I can get added and do all that. Get add. So I've added it. Come up and do a hard refresh. I just added something 12 seconds ago. Create a new pull request. So I'm requesting the pull Tom Preet School Interface 3 master branch into Part-Time Charlie's School Interface 3 master branch. And create a pull request. And there we go.